Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story TV and the Her Story podcast. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. I was with you earlier this morning. I'm back again with yet another fascinating guest coming to us right here in Australia. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, how old you are, and share your story with us today.
Amazing. Thank you for having me on here. It's such a wonderful blessing to be able to come on this platform and also to speak with you. We met a couple of weeks ago. So my name is Jocelyn Dodunski. Jocelyn is the name given to me from my auntie and also my sister. Both died at birth, and Afina is the name that was gifted to me from my grandmother, which means basically to help, to embrace, to support. It is a native language of New Zealand, Māori. I'm originally born in New Zealand, in Waikato, born and bred, and then I moved to Australia and now live in Queensland for the past, I've been here 15 years, I think about going on 8-9 years now I've been in Queensland. So it's summer all year round here, and I am 21 in my heart, but chronologically on my birth certificate, I'm 42.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So what is that pivotal moment in time in your life that defines the woman that you are today?
I think it goes back to my name. I found out because I was raised Māori and I'm also Scottish, and I have a few other little bits and bobs in there, but mainly Māori and Scottish, and I was raised in both cultures, and I didn't find out what my name meant until I was 14, and I was at a Māori college away from my family, about 6 hours away, and the name, meant to help in the dictionary. I had the biggest tanty you could ever imagine. I threw the book on the floor. I was so disgusted with my name, and I wanted to have it out with my grandmother. I didn't understand because she named all my siblings, my cousins, and they got warrior names and goddess names, and I got this to help, and I felt like ripped off. So when I saw her again, which was a couple of months later, I asked her, why did you give me that name? I don't understand. I feel like you love me, but this name, the meaning I had interpreted it as was not very positive. And she said that she named me well, and that she felt like I was the one that would be able to bring the family together. And so that weighed heavy on me for many, many years, and I wanted to do right by her because I loved my Nana. She's just the most... she was my idol at school. We were asked, who's your idol? And lots of people would say, Michael Jackson or MC Hammer at the time, and mine was my Nana. I just never looked up to anyone like I looked up to my Nana. So now, 27 years later, I've spent in the healthcare industry, trauma nurse, for 15 years, and dedicated my life since I was 15 working in a rest home with the elderly people, helping them get dressed and putting their shoes on and feeding them, cleaning them, all the way up to becoming a registered nurse and a senior nurse in emergency department. I found that this nature of wanting to care for and help people and support people and embrace people was just a natural thing for me. I've always loved people. Even when people don't show their best side, I'm always able to see something good in the mess. And I accept myself as sometimes I'm not the best person. We all have our traits that we're not proud of. But it was while I was sick, which was about 7 years ago, I decided to shift into alternative therapies. I wanted to get to the root cause as to why I had these health issues. And that's what I do now. I help women become unstoppable, and also help and assist women to deal with their trauma, to listen to their body, to tap into their body's wisdom, and to actualize their truth and step into their sovereign, liberated selves by sharing their voice, their message, and turning the past into power and their trauma into triumph.
Wow. Wow, you've packed a lot into just a few minutes there, but I'm going to take you back a little bit to the very beginning, and let's start with your name. The Maori culture is very, very similar to the African culture. In Africa, you are gifted a name that you either become or not. So, like, for example, my grandmother named two of her grandchildren Gertrude, and the name has to take with your soul. It has to embody the essence of who you are. And my African name is Ruadzano and Munyaradzi. And Munyaradzi means the pacifier, the person who is there to give counsel to people who are grieving. And
Wow.
it's really interesting that throughout my life, that is what I do. I have worked with women who are widowed during the AIDS pandemic, women who've gone through sexual rape, sexual molestation, domestic violence. I've always been that kind of a person. And it sounds to me like you found your calling or the meaning of that name later in life. Is that correct?
Yes.
And it didn't feel so good in the beginning.
Yes, it didn't feel good in the beginning, but when she explained it to me, I felt an obligation.
Yeah.
And while I was at nursing school, I mean, I always had, and I think that's what she knew, I always had that caring nature towards people.
Yes. And your own personal health challenges, tell us a little bit about that. And what was it that made you seek these alternative healing methodologies? I mean, you're a nurse, you're in the science field already, but you knew that there was something else out there that could help you, right?
Yes, well, so I spent 27 years in the healthcare industry, but it's very westernized in terms of the model of care, which is separate the mind from the body, focus on the body and the symptoms of the body. So treat the symptoms, pill, potion, surgery. And I knew that outcome because I had worked with thousands of patients. I knew what that looked like for me when I had my own heart problem. And I didn't like what that trajectory would be for me. I mean, I was only young, I was in my 30s then. And so what I decided to do was, and it felt wrong in my body, the day of surgery, I rang the surgeon. I said, I'm not coming in. I don't feel well. And it wasn't that I was lying. It was more that I didn't feel aligned to it. I didn't want them to ablate and misfire and I end up with a pacemaker or, stroke or a heart attack or death.
Good afternoon, thought leader.
It was all about me just listening to my own body. And so I bought a book. I don't know if you know the book, You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay.
Yes.
All I did was everything in that book. I listened to her CDs and within 3 or 4 weeks, I was healed. And so for me, it was like, wow, it would have been about 23 years by then or 22 years I'd been in the industry and I never once was told my nursing career that you could actually take charge of all these symptoms and heal your life. And I felt like a fraud. I felt like a failure to my patients. I felt like they needed to know about this information. And I felt like if I could teach them how to get to the root cause of their problems, to take ownership of and responsibility of their thoughts and their beliefs, that they could absolutely change their lives. And so that's why I went on a mission. I used myself as my own guinea pig in case study, and I've healed myself from numerous things. Recently in 2019, I healed myself from 13 health conditions, quite severe as well, fibromyalgia, anxiety, depression. I was a bit suicidal at the time. I went through a big, huge, I would say, a relationship that was very misaligned and that my body knew I shouldn't be in, but I stayed because, I wanted to help everyone. And so it was a great learning experience for me. And I only have 2 health issues which I'm waiting for surgery for. And it works. The work works. You just have to be willing to say yes to yourself, do the work, and get the treats. That's basically it. Yeah. I also had surgery this year, February the 26th, for a tumor in my parathyroid, which is indicative of adrenal fatigue, which is indicative of the adrenaline running through your system when you haven't acknowledged the trauma from childhood. So the fight flight for decades causes things like that, causes misalignment with your body. And if you're not listening to your body, then you won't hear the whispers and the messages your body is trying to teach you. And so I was so overwhelmed that I didn't hear until it was too late. So I had to get my parathyroid out and this big tumor. Luckily, it wasn't cancerous. So I'm very grateful, and I know that this is my magic. This is my superpower. So it's been a very beautiful year for me to be able to honor my voice and speak my truth. And yeah.
So if you were to give advice to somebody who's listening to this interview right now, who's just been diagnosed with some health challenge, is going into fear, doesn't know what to do, what 3 nuggets of wisdom would you give them based on what you learned about your body, about self-healing?
Yeah. Okay. Well, wow. This is my favorite question. The first thing is there's no such thing as a specialist in your life. It doesn't matter what certificates they have on the wall. It doesn't matter. Like, those certificates mean nothing without knowledge acquired and knowledge gained, and also experiential knowledge. It doesn't matter if they're wearing a uniform. You are the specialist in your own life, and you will always be. And as a sovereign guardian of your temple, of your sacred vessel, you have to be in your authority and stand up to and listen to yourself first before someone diagnoses you with something. That's the first mindset tool that I would encourage you to have. The second thing is, when someone gives you a diagnosis, it's based on the symptoms of your body. Now, with Eastern medicine, Chinese medicine, alternative therapies, I'm sure your genealogy African would have their indigenous cultural wisdom and ancient wisdom. Medicine, I also do in my culture. Those all look at the whole picture of a person, a holistic approach. It's not just the body is separate. Takes into account the spirit and the mind, and the ability for you to command your presence and command your body. So the second thing I would say is look at the whole picture. Literally get a paper and a pen, write down all the symptoms, write down all the feelings you're having. Take into account the diagnosis, because your body, Dr. Gabor Mate says, when you don't acknowledge, your body acknowledges what you don't. So when you start getting sick, it's your body's way of saying, hello, listen to me. You're not listening. You need to pay attention. And it will end up making you pay attention if you don't listen. So that's one important thing, is to write down everything. And then look at it like, my favorite word is biohacking. So the third thing I would say is go to the GP, get bloods done. Even get a mental health care plan. In Australia, it's free. I know there's a big, huge waiting list, about 3 to 4 months to see a psychologist because of the state of mental health in Australia at the moment. But you can still start the process so that you can talk to someone about anything that's coming up, or instead of paying for therapy if you don't have the funds to do that. So get your biochemistry done. Get your blood pressure done. Just be curious about yourself and go all in. And then write down what you eat, how you're sleeping, your stress levels, the things that you're denying, suppressing, repressing. Start to acknowledge those and look at your lifestyle, because it's your lifestyle, it's your environment, it's your mental environment. It's also the way in which you talk to yourself. It's just a whole big picture, and then find people who are going to assist you with your food, nutrition. Nutrition is like 80% of it. Your hormones as well. As women, we have all these hormones and they are often out of balance. So you need to look at that. Sleep deprivation and stress for women. Look at that. Look at all these things, and don't be scared and overwhelmed. Just look at it as your legacy that you leave your children, your grandchildren, that you're teaching them how to take care of themselves through your example. And a leader really is someone who leads from the front, not the back.
Wonderful.
Not when you're in a hospital bed.
No, you've seen one once you're in that hospital bed. Wow, absolutely wonderful. So if time was an illusion and your past, your present, your future could exist in the same timeline, and I could teleport you to the future, to the 100-year-old you sitting in your rocking chair with your grandchildren and great-grandchildren, what would you say to the woman that you have become? If you could have a conversation with her.
Well, I actually had, it's so funny you say that, I had a vision of this when I was in 2015, 2014. May have been a few years. So my daughter was 9. She's 16 now. She was 9 years old. And she was about to turn 10, double digits. And for me, it was like a life-altering moment because I realized for her entire life I'd been single. And I had basically put myself on a shelf, never to touch a man again, because her father was a unique blessing and an example. And I never wanted to be in a relationship after him again. And so I made up this belief, right, that all men are like him and that I just don't want to go there. I'd rather just stay single and put all my love into her. And when she was turning 10, I realized that not only was that unhealthy and untrue, but that I didn't want to be in a rocking chair. And I saw myself with this rocking chair with my grandchildren running around me asking, tell us your story, like your pearls of wisdom, what were they? And I didn't want to have a story of I put myself on a shelf for 100 years because I was too scared to love and open up my heart. And straight after that, I decided to start dating men again because I did not like them. I wasn't a fan. But what I found was, my dad is a good man. My grandfather's a great man. My uncles, they're beautiful men. And my nephews. And so it's not true that all men are like this. It was just that I was able to be blessed with the lessons that he would bring me, my daughter's father. And that was life-changing. So what would I be at 100? That I lived a great life, that I traveled the world, that I have all these little, remnants all around my house that they can ask, where did that come from? And I can say that come from Mykonos Island or Lake Como or even Africa. When my daughter leaves home, that's what I'll be doing, just traveling the world.
Oh, I absolutely love it. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful way to end our interview today. Thank you so much for coming online and gracing us with your presence, with your wisdom. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in. So we have Dr. Schaefer. She was on a show with us earlier this morning, all the way in Kansas, USA. She said that this is so valuable to see two thought leaders sharing wisdom. Thank you so much. We have Raywin Weller, another good friend of mine in Tauranga in New Zealand. She said, I know how you feel, Jocelyn. I was a nurse many years ago and do all of my own healing now. Go, girl, she says.
Awesome.
Lisa, also it sounds like she had a bilateral pulmonary embolism. So another person recovering from health. And Khadija is coming to us all the way from the United States. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will be back again tomorrow with yet another fascinating guest. In the meantime, Have a fantastic day wherever you are in the world. And thank you so much to our sponsors. Skinny Teas is a company based in Detroit, Michigan. They have come on board as one of our sponsors to help us curate these amazing stories. So please go onto the Skinny Teas website, buy their t-shirts, spread that website link to all of your friends. They're part of empowering this women's movement and helping us meet these fascinating ladies who are gracing us with their wisdom as well. Have a good day, everybody, wherever you are in the world. I'll be back again tomorrow. Bye for now, and thank you again for the interview.
Thank you. Can I just say I'm mihi to Tauranga. My lineage goes to Ngāi Te Ranginui in Tauranga. So kia ora to the lady that was from Tauranga. That's one of my lineage. Yeah.
Fantastic. Beautiful. I hope you heard that, Ray. There she is. She says, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Bye.